So tonight I'm going to make Argentinian chimichurri steak. And we're going to use two different kinds of steak. And we're going to use some essential oils essential to the marinade itself, but we're not going to use those in the marinade. We're going to use those as the finishing sauces for the various different parts of the entire dinner. So with this dish, it's just going to be quite simply a grilled salad and some steak. But you're going to see that the depth of this and the bread and the salad and the vegetables and the steak is just going to be this amazing, huge dinner. So first off, let's get to making the chimichurri. But first, before I'm going to do that, interesting little tip about garlic. So this is crushed garlic. I've rough chopped it, added the chili flakes. So in here is the extra virgin olive oil, chopped garlic, and some chili flakes. It's always a good idea to chop your garlic and let it rest, so to speak, in the olive oil before you actually cook with it. What it does is it activates the antiviral protective properties of garlic and makes the garlic more usable. And it actually mellows the flavor out with it too. So what I do is add a little bit more when I chop it all up, let it sit for probably about 15-20 minutes. I'm gonna take this little bit of extra oil just like this, and see, I've already grilled these. I grill these outside over the fire, but I'm gonna grill these too over the very hot pan right here going on. So just a little bit of the oil over the lettuce. That's it. And you don't need much. So with that, just add a little bit of salt and just a little bit of pepper. We're just gonna let that sit, and what's gonna happen is that oil is just kind of permeate down through the leaves, okay? Just let that sit. Now, let's get to the chimichurri. So here's what we do. Big old food processor. If you don't have a food processor, by all means, you can stick it in a blender. If you don't have any of those, yes, you can spend quite a while chopping, and chopping is quite acceptable. So, we have flat leaf parsley. I don't recommend using the curly leaf parsley. It's just too tough and too coarse. You want something really delicate because this meat is gonna marinate. We're gonna make a vinaigrette to go with the salad. If you use the curly, it's just gonna have a funky texture to it. So in here, into the big food processor, parsley, cilantro, and you see a lot of stem. That's okay. That's perfectly fine because the first half of the puree blend is going to be the actual marinade, and then we're going to finally just puree it to use it for the vinaigrette and the meat drizzle. Okay, so in here the herbs, we have rosemary, let's see what we have here, we have lemon verbena, oregano, rosemary, and thyme. Excellent. In here is 1 cup of olive oil, 1/3 of a cup of red wine vinegar. The red wine vinegar I'm using today is a Pinot Noir, so it's a little sweeter, which is really good. Any red wine vinegar will do. In it goes. A little bit of vinegar, about 2 tablespoons in this little jar. There we go. All right. Now depending on how dry your ingredients are, you might have to add a little more olive oil, and that's okay. Let me see how much I needed. There we go. Now, real quick, we do the zest. 1 lemon. And juice of this lemon. To that, 1 serrano chili pepper. If you want it hotter, by all means, add more. Salt, a little pepper. Here it is. All right, let's give it a taste, see what we got. This makes quite a bit. So what we're doing is I'm making enough for the marinade, for a vinaigrette, and the final dressing sauce for the dish. Garlic, I need garlic in here. What am I missing? About 4 to 6 cloves of garlic. That's magic right there. I'm gonna portion this out real quick. There it is. When you're marinating your meats, a little of this goes a long way. So about half of this mixture, okay, is gonna go in this jar. This is gonna be my vinaigrette. To this, another half a cup is gonna be for the last piece of the steak. This is the marinade. All right, now, real quick, I can set these aside. One shallot. When you put a shallot in vinegar, lemon juice, sherry vinegar, wine vinegar, it doesn't really matter. The acids from the vinegar actually take the shallot and make it not spicy. It actually turns it very, very sweet and gives this really nice sugary component you might be missing. So, into the vinegar. That's it. We're just gonna let that sit until it's time. Now in a few minutes, you're gonna see when I go this again, you're gonna see that these have gotten softer. There we go. Just gonna let that sit. All right, now, next for the meat. So we have our marinade, that's what we're gonna use. So this is a tenderizer. These are little razor blades that come out and they tenderize. These are awesome. Do not get your hand underneath, bad day. So with the meat, I have two kinds of meat. This one's Flatiron and this one is flap steak. Two opposite ends of the animal. They cook the same way. Flavor is very similar and they're fabulous for marinating, but they're really, really tough. So we're gonna use this. That's it. I've already done that to this one, and this one's already been marinating. This is a yellow zucchini and a green zucchini. The other half of these two I placed in the grill already with the other pieces. So, with the marinade, that's it. Spoon it over. There we go. That's all you have to do. Now for the vegetables, what I just like to do, just real quick, that's it. Real quick, one side. Now, you wanna let this sit at least 3 hours, no more than 5. The reason is, if you look at this Flatiron steak, see the difference in color? This has been sitting just under 3 hours. So you can imagine if you had it for 5, it would be completely changed in color. And for me, that tends to make the meat a little tough on the outside. And by stabbing it and tenderizing it, they're actually lean cuts. So you're allowing the oil and the garlic to actually go inside the meat. So we're gonna let that sit. Turn our oven on. Stove on high, it's cast iron grate. So this pan I've put in the oven at 400 degrees for about 45 minutes before I started this, so the temperature gets up and stays hot. Then I can turn your burner on and turn your burner on super high, get it hot. It's gonna smoke a little bit, so don't be afraid. All right, now we're gonna make the vinaigrette real quick. So the vinaigrette is a little more wine vinegar, this amazing olive oil. And since I'm not cooking this olive oil, you're gonna have it in the vinaigrette for the salad. And this particular one, you don't have to go this extreme. I just decided to. This is from Argentina. It is from a specific farm that they only use manzanilla olives. Manzanillas are, it's like having fresh cut grass on a spring day. That's exactly what the nose and it smells like. And then all of a sudden it just turns super, super sweet. And there we go. Just gonna add that to balance out. Very important. Oregano, lemon, and thyme. So, for essential oils, I'm not cooking them on the grill or in the oven. I don't wanna lose all their properties. So I want to bring all these flavors out. So all the rest of the oils I'm gonna use for today are going to be from the Vitality line from Young Living, okay? All right, now, first, to finish off the vinaigrette. Remember those shallots that we used? Excellent. So I'm not gonna use all of them. That was a lot. But see how they got nice and soft? Just kind of almost like they're cooked? Well, funny enough, I'm not going to use all of the shallots. Maybe about half. Inside, but I'm gonna use all that vinegar all of that stuff that makes shallots spicy and makes your eyes hurt, when it mixes with vinegar, it actually turns like sugar. Really, really sweet. So you turn the vinegar and make it sweet. And that's it. So with these, you can save these, put them in a little Ziploc baggie and save them, put them in the freezer, save them for another use, put them in another vinaigrette, whatever you want. All right, now to that, because of this acid, 2 drops of lemon, thyme, oregano. Be careful with oregano. Less is more. It's very, very potent. See how slow that was to come out? Very viscous, very thick. So it tends to permeate everything you add to it. And that is it. So we're gonna add, so your honey, I just put the honey over the stove so it made it nice and liquidy to mix in with my vinaigrette. A little bit of mustard. Mustard helps it emulsify and kind of mix nicely. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Cap. We're going to use the same jar that I already had the other stuff in. There's your vinaigrette. So from here, if you don't like a certain aspect to it, you can add more honey. You can add more lemon. You can add more oil. If it doesn't have enough lemon, all right, add some more lemon oil and have that really rich lemon, vibrant wow in your face. That's what you can have. Whatever you want, it's up to you. As long as you have the base 3-to-1. Oh my God. Wow. That is amazing. It's a perfect balance. It's a little spicy from the garlic. It's sweet, the honey, and see how it's not separating out? That's the mustard. And the mustard helps to emulsify the oil and vinegar. That's it. And that's just gonna sit, marinate happily. Now, coming back to, I'm gonna add the remainder of this because we had a little bit left over from the meat, okay? To our tomatoes for the salad. So what I'm using is 2 massive heirloom tomatoes. And here in Texas, just south of Dallas, there's this massive farm that grows organic tomatoes, heirloom tomatoes. Look at the size of these things. That's just half a tomato. And the other half of this one too. And I already chopped them up, a little bit of herb in there left, but you don't have to be fancy. And that is it. So we're gonna take a little bit of the vinaigrette, or actually just a little bit of the marinade, straight out of the blender. In, a couple tablespoons. That's it. Now then, to this, black pepper, oregano, and lemon. So 1 drop of lemon. And again, with this oregano, less is more. 2 drops, that's all you need. Imagine the most intense oregano smell you've ever had, and then multiply that times 10. That's the flavor profile of these essential oils. Yes, you can by all means cook with them, but you lose a lot of the properties. So 3 drops of the black pepper. This black pepper oil, I absolutely love it. So here, we'll add a little fresh black pepper in with that. And remember, it's all about depth of flavor. These are just gonna sit until dinner's ready. Love that. All right, so that's the other component. Layers of flavor. That's what we're trying to do here. Okay, next, the grill and Italian bread. This is really, really good. So I'm gonna cut it in half. I'm gonna cut a 1-inch chunk out of one half side and a 1-inch chunk off the other half side. Excellent. Crank the fire up, make sure this is really hot. Okay. So, like we did the lettuce outside, I don't want to cook it. I just want to lightly char it. I just want the smoke flavor. A little bit of the olive oil in there. Is that smoke? That's it. 9, 10, done. Look at that. The smell of this is absolutely amazing. And bread. Don't oil it. I just want the char. I want that grill aspect to it. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? It's not, yeah, it's not pretty, it's pretty. Remember, do not spray it with oil. It's called carbonization. It'll burn and be disgusting. Just what it will look like. Next, remember those zucchini I did? There it is. All right. You might want to use some tongs for this one. Scrape your marinade off. Okay. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Real quick. Big and thick. Do not cut thin slices. All right. You still want texture and body, and yet have all the flavor of the grill. Big cast iron steel plate. By all means, use a cast iron skillet and throw it on top, put it down. Again. The vegetables, when you couldn't cook the vegetables like this, they'll tend to curl. Mainly that's the reason I do this, so I have the big heavy heat sitting down on top of it to keep them from curling back up. Maybe in 30 seconds at the most, and there it is. We're gonna do that. So this is back over there. This here. Excellent. We'll do some onions. And beautiful. Now, we're not going to clean that. We're not going to do anything to it. Marinate off. Okay. All right. Very important. More salt. Just a little. A little pepper. 1, 2. Now, the nature of these meats is very important. Look how flat they are. In just a minute, you're going to see them shrink up. Like, oh my God, it just shrunk half its size. But it's going to get taller. And both of them you want no more than medium to medium rare. Medium is the most you want to go. So if you're going to do this, by all means, make sure you have a vent that works. There we go. Just like that. So this oven is set at 350. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these cool onions that I did, I'm going to put those in. These are the ones I grilled from outside. I'm going to add those in too. So I'm going to grill these about 5 minutes. I'm going to divide that time up by flipping it over and then flipping it over and then over and over again, because I don't want to char and burn. I just want to get this amazing caramelization. I'm going to finish it in the pan. Okay, so you don't want them any more than medium, preferably medium rare. Either cuts, the flap steak or the flat iron. Very important to cut across the grain. So when you see right here, see these fibers? How it just runs all along this way? And the fibers run lengthwise. And literally, like I have the cut steak here, that's exactly how you want to cut it across the grain. If you don't, and you cut it with it, it's going to be extremely tough, almost like chewing through dental floss. Neither of these cuts are very expensive, but a ton of flavor if you do them right. So now, we're going to make a salad. It's about 1 handful, or about 1.5 cups of baby arugula. Arugula is very spicy. Another name is rocket. English name for it. Okay. But it's very spicy, very peppery. Okay? Lettuce. So again on the meat, while we're doing this, remember, for medium, you want about 10 minutes and you want to check it. Give a nick and peek, kind of run a little nick through it, look at it inside. More on the 12-minute side, you're going to get more medium. But make sure you let it rest for at least 3 to 5 minutes before you start slicing into it, okay? All right, so lettuce, literally, chop, chop. The more you come towards this end, don't use the entire end. But the more you come to the end, chop it a little finer, a little more texture. Almost like coleslaw. It's just going to give a little bit different texture. That's all you want. Here, in. Last one. That's it. Now, to this, shaved manchego. Now, I just put on a little potato peeler and just shave it up, about a ½ pound. I'm gonna use it 2 different ways. I'm gonna mix it after the tomatoes. I'm gonna mix them in the tomatoes. I'm gonna mix them here in the lettuce. And for the manchego, they make a really young, which is really soft, a 6-month-old, which is kind of like in your medium, and then more than 6 months, usually about a year aged, is really hard, almost like Parmesan Reggiano style. It's just a hard cheese, and it's a very similar cheese in flavor to Parmesan, but it's from Spain. So we're just gonna use that for here. That's it, just a little. Oh yes, the vinaigrette made a lot. This vinaigrette's good for at least a week in the fridge. So you can use this vinaigrette now for another marinade for chicken or fish or beef. You can make another salad, whatever you want to with it. It's so versatile. So to this, this is quite a bit of salad, but it's enough for 4 people. I'm gonna use about a ½ cup. That's it. With the shallots, with that all in there. Isn't that gorgeous? Floral, herb. Excellent, all right. Food shouldn't be complicated, it should be good. And if you have great ingredients, it's hard to really mess anything up for the fun part. So the meat's gonna take a few more minutes. It's exactly what we want. It's gonna be in between medium and mid-rare. So real quick, just grab a different cutting board so I don't get crazy meat juice all over this other one. So again, the 2 different cuts of steak, the flap steak and the flat iron. And with these steaks, you want to cut across the grain, very important. So see how the fibers run in this one? They run this way, long. I'm gonna cut it that way. Same for flat iron, it's about that long. And the fibers run end to end. So just like I have this one cut, you want to cut it you want to cut it against the grain all the way across, okay? Look at that. That's exactly the temperature you want it. Any more than that, it's just gonna be really, really tough. Perfect, so that's the flap steak. Now the flat iron. That's exactly what you want. Look at that, it's perfect all the way through. That is excellent. I'm a sample. That's my job, that's my duty. Whoa, that is crazy. Now, with this, remember that little sauce I put aside for the drizzle? Right there. And so I'm gonna enhance all of that with this amazing condiment, the chimichurri. So to that, I'm gonna add 2 drops, the Vitality blend of black pepper, rosemary, and oregano, 2 drops of each, and then 1 drop of lemon. I want this hint of citrus. Boom, that's it. And again, if you're not keen on the oregano, don't add oregano, use the marjoram oil. Marjoram is like the oregano's younger, nicer little brother. Rosemary, 2. That's it. Now, mix up well. Isn't that gorgeous? That's just pretty. And you want it to be intense. For a condiment that's going on steak, that's really robust, really rich, you want just a little bit to be this intense wow factor. So we have the steak, chimichurri, tomatoes, bread. Next, real quick, this aside, are zucchinis for a salad. Look at those. Isn't that pretty? They have texture and color and a little bit of the char. There's a little bit of the char on the lettuce. Just gonna throw in, give it a mix. You good? Excellent. So real quick, just for a minute, just to heat the bread up. I'm just gonna toss it right in the oven, straight in the oven, on top. All right, so bread's just been in the oven. Just about 3 minutes. You just want to get it lightly warm. Lettuce. So what I like to do is take this dressing from the tomatoes. Look at all that dressing. Look at all that vinaigrette, all the juice from the tomatoes. Spoonful on the bread. That's it. All right. So to that, lettuce, vegetable, big handful. All right, now tomatoes marinated. Manchego, it's the rest of our cheese. Divide this up. Get Flatiron. Now on top, our chimichurri, our true chimichurri. And take some of those. All right. And here we have an Argentinian chimichurri flatiron grilled steak salad infused with Young Living essential oils.